can.
Hey.
As long as he.
Hi, Greg.
Actually.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Hear you.
This isn't for you.
Good.
This is for my buddy.
Jeremy, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
I bought it a long
Good.
time ago.
Good.
I had it in my closet.
I'm
afraid to use it for dogs. I think I'm going to ruin it.
guys, I just want to give a couple
I
minutes.
got you. Hold on.
That
Big bro there. Big bro can't get jealous.
maybe a couple of minutes for them to make it
There is
into the
an
meeting,
open Pepsi in the top of that.
and then I'll
You want to mute the
start rolling.
mics?
Okay.
Alex, how are you? Hey, Alex. Nice night to do this outside. Alex, your microphone is muted, so I can't hear you if you're responding.
My apologies. I'm over a family member's house.
Oh, that's okay. And we have another person that is here.
Hello, Professor.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Good. I can't see you, but I can hear you though, and that's the
Okay,
most. That's the most important thing.
Thank you. I think I have trouble with that. Maybe something.
But you can hear me, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. I think I'm going to get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'm going to go over some points that I have seen in the first week of the class that I want to make sure everybody has a handle on. Also, I want you to know that I am recording this tonight, and I'll record our meetings from this point forward, and then I'll post them. I may post it tonight, but for sure by tomorrow. So if you want to look at it again, you're more than welcome to. So anyway, let me share my screen. And I'll bring this document up on the screen to talk to you guys, you folks. I just wanted to go over this stuff. There's some, I sort of noticed from the responses and the assignments that some of this may not be getting done. So I wanted to just make sure that everyone is doing this stuff so that you get the most out of the class that you can. So to start with, do the reading every week. Go into MindTap and make sure you do the reading. The books from MindTap are really, really, really excellent. And if you read through that stuff, I think that you'll get a real good handle on what we're up to in the class. And then I post some videos for you guys every week, and I think it would be a really good idea for you to watch the videos. I'm going to stop sharing this right now. I'm going to move to a different screen real quick. So anyway, you guys, if you go to Google and you search for Professor Messer, and here M-E-S-S-E-R, Professor Messer, I don't know if you all have been to his website. Professor Messer is really excellent has excellent videos, if we were in person in class, I would probably be using Professor Messer's videos extensively to teach the class. What I've done when I've lectured in person is I'll play the video and then I'll pause it at certain points where I want to make commentary on it. The reason that I'm not doing that here is because it's just clunky to keep flipping between me and the screen and all that. It just doesn't make sense. I think you can get as much out of it by watching them. Professor Messer has videos for both 1030, 1035, 1055, Network Plus, and Security Plus. And you can go to his videos, and in his videos, they're videos that match the book, and they're all. And I'll just real quick go to this one, and you'll see he's got the videos organized so that they match the book for you, and you can take and the videos. Most of them aren't really that long, so I think it would be a good idea for you guys to familiarize yourself with Professor Messer. And then I have one other person that I wanted to show you here, and I'm gonna stop sharing for a second, and then I'm going to switch over and do a share here. I don't know how many of you have ever seen any of the videos that Linus does. The guy that you see on the screen is Linus. Linus does a series of things he calls tech tips. I will actually be posting links to specific tech tips, particularly when we get to the CPU chapter, because he has videos that go through like the history of Intel, the history of AMD. He has a video that actually takes you into a factory where they actually manufacture the chip, so you can see the process by which they manufacture chips there. I would, if I were you guys, and you can also get Professor Messer's stuff here, I would go to one of Linus's videos and I'd subscribe to his stuff. Then you'll be able to go out there and go to all his videos. For a while there, he hadn't done a video for about a year, but I just took a look this evening, and he has all kind of videos that are like 2 months old. Just another aside with Linus. Linus is one of the, I believe, the top 5 YouTubers on YouTube. I believe that when I looked it up, and you can look it up and check for yourselves, I think he makes $1 million a year doing this stuff. So just, I mean, when you're learning about technology and you start to get jobs, think about, you know, maybe you'll think that you have some unique perspectives on hardware or software or everything. This gentleman had a job at a video editing company and then turned it into this $1 million career that he has going. And I mean, the cool thing for him is that he gets equipment essentially for free from companies that want him to do videos on their specific equipment. And I was just watching one of the new videos he has up there where he's reviewing it, and it's 11 minutes 46 seconds, where he's reviewing Walmart's $250, at that time it was in May, laptop. And I was surprised because he sort of, for $250, says the laptop's pretty good. It's definitely worth $250. So you can get yourself into, it's a non-gaming, so if you're a gamer out there, this isn't gonna work. But I know he has videos where he points out where if you're a gamer, you can go get a laptop for $500. So he does product reviews. He also does, you know, technology instruction. So Linus is one of the video resources that I would use. I'm gonna go back real quick. Here, I'm gonna stop sharing that one, and I'm gonna start sharing back to where was, oh, here we go. Okay, if you haven't done them yet, give a try at doing some of the labs in MindTap. Again, the reason that I'm not making them a gradable assignment is because they can be kind of clunky to work with. However, they give you the ability, they're kind of a step-by-step thing. And if you're having problems with a certain step, you can skip over it and continue to work through the lab. So take a shot at some of the labs. I think we got this, but I still had somebody last Sunday submit one of their assignments through Blackboard. I'm not going to get into long explanations about why I want assignments that way. I'm the instructor. This is how I have my course put together, and I will put the assignments in the announcements in Blackboard, and I will have you submit them to me via email. And what I'd like you to do, if you could from this point on, is in the subject line of the email, I'd like you to put your name, the class number that you're in, and the due date of the assignment. It'll help me in terms of figuring out whose assignments are what when I take a look at Outlook. Read the assignment in Blackboard. Please read them. If I say I want 2 documents, I want 2 documents. Some people were combining them into 1 document. Some people were writing them into the body of the email. Part of this class and part of any class, and especially for IT people, is reading the instructions and then following them. Because when you get a job in IT and you start working with users, you're going to have to be able to communicate to them a step-by-step process to do things. So you have to make sure that you can do that yourself. So read the assignments and then please do what I ask you to do. And I tell you here that employers ask about this ability. If someone comes to, if you guys send me an email and say, can I will you be one of my references on a job? If I say yes to that, and I say yes to almost any student that has ever asked me, understand that when they ask me questions, I'm going to be honest about that. So again, follow the directions. This is an important one. I saw a lot of this past week. I saw a lot of particularly the document about the pieces, parts inside a computer. It was actually copied directly from the web, and there were probably 6 people that copied it from the same place. So I know it wasn't original thought there. It was word for word the same. It was in the same format, word for word. Guys, that's plagiarism. If you copy something from the web and don't cite it as a source, it's plagiarism, and it's scholastic dishonesty. So from this point on, please make sure that you read whatever it is that I want you to put in a document, and then you put it in your own words. you sit down and you think it through and you put it in your own words. Also, your writing, when you write to me, and you guys are gonna think I'm an old crab, but when you write stuff to me, it has to be college level. You know, it has to be in a format that is college level. So do not use online contractions that you've come up with. I won't think that they're cool. I'll just look at it and go, what is this person going to do when they get a job at Sherwin-Williams and they have to write instructions for people, or they have to write things for people to take a look at? So make sure you're writing. I will, in this paragraph here, I say, you know, make sure that you have that you proofread what it is that you send. And if you decide to go further on and get a bachelor's degree or get a master's degree, your writing is gonna have to get through those programs. Your writing is gonna have to be up to snuff. If you don't use Grammarly, I would suggest using Grammarly. It makes my writing look really good. It's a really bad idea to wait until 11:55 on Sunday to hand in your work. I would try and manage your time a little better to get it done, because there were a few people that I sent the work back to them because they had really missed the mark. And that'll happen the first week, but as we go along, you'll miss the mark less and less and less. This is specific to the assignment, and I'm trying to remember if any of you had this problem, if any of you that are here in the class had this problem, and I think at least a couple of you did, so I wanted to make sure that I covered it. AMD and Intel are the two major makers of CPUs for personal computers and laptops and all that stuff. They make different chips, and CPUs have pins or contacts on the bottom. Those pins fit into a specific socket on the motherboard. So for instance, you can't put an AMD chip into a motherboard that had a socket made for an Intel chip, because they don't use the same number of pins. For those of you that did that exercise, some of you had a chip that was an LGA that fit into an LGA 1151 socket. The reason that the place that 1151 comes from is that is the number of pins or contacts on the bottom, on the underside of the chip. That's where they get that number from. Right now we're up to, I think, like 2011. Another comment. So you got to match when you're putting these things together. You can't send me an Athlon processor with an Intel motherboard, because there's no way that the sockets. So you've got to look at the motherboard online and see what socket it has, and then you have to look at the chip and see what socket it goes into. And I think I had probably maybe half of the builds that came that were handed in where somebody did, and I'm not blaming you, I'm just trying to inform you that that's true. We will look more at that when we get to motherboards and CPUs, and those are the next two chapters that are coming up. The other thing is a very similar situation. The motherboards are going to take a certain size of a certain type of memory. And memory, the biggest classification you have to look at is DDR. It's DDR2, DDR3, DDR4. So when you're matching memory to the motherboard, you have to look at both of them. And for instance, you've got to make sure if you're buying a motherboard that only accepts DDR3, that you buy DDR3 memory. That was much, much less of a problem this week than the actual matching of the motherboard and the CPU. So again, motherboards have slots for memory, and the memory has contacts on the bottom. And each classification of memory, DDR2, DDR3, DDR4, have a different number of pins on the bottom, so they will fit into different slots for you. So I just wanted to make those distinctions. Otherwise, the builds were pretty good. I also wanted to, one tip that I can give you, if you haven't done a lot of builds of PCs, is go out to Newegg, and Newegg sells combos where they pre-match the motherboard, the CPU, and the memory for you. So instead of your having to pick each one, you can buy them combined together, and it makes sure that those components are going to match. You have a question, Caleb? Or are you just waving?
No, do you know how much it is on Newegg or no?
No. Well, they're different prices depending upon the quality of the motherboard and the speed and quality of the processor. So there's no specific number I can give you. You'd have to go out there. But one of the things that you can do when you're looking on most of these websites, and it's almost always on the left-hand side, you can specify what price range you want to see things come up on the screen that are in. Or you can start by going onto Google and type out something like show me motherboards in the Intel motherboards for Intel chips in the $100 to $150 category. I don't know if you guys think of actually typing stuff out that long, but you should. You should be doing that. Okay, any questions? Stuff that came, I did want to make, again, one comment. Sometimes when you try, and let me do one last switch here for you. Okay. Okay. Where am I? All right, so here in module 1, I think it is under practice. Yeah, under practice are the hardware lab sims and then the more advanced simulations. And I think I mentioned this somewhere in what I've been putting up on Blackboard. Under this one, there are like 8 different labs. No, 10 different labs. One of them is, and so it's like practice installing components inside. Practice removing the motherboard power supply and drives. Practice diagram and remove cables inside a computer. So they kind of broke this down into small pieces so you can go in and do these. Again, I'm not counting them toward your grade. So if you don't get to do that, that's okay. But this course is supposed to have a lab component to it. And since we can't be in the lab at school, this is a great alternative to the lab at school, is going into these labs. I also wanted to make sure that when you guys are doing this, after you read, if you click on the study, it says Module 1 PowerPoint deck. That is the PowerPoint presentation that if I used it, the instructor gets those PowerPoints that come with their book. So you can look at the PowerPoints that your instructor would normally be presenting by going to the PowerPoint deck. Also, if you want to test yourself, there are some flashcards here where it shows you, maybe it'll show you a port and ask you, you know, what is that, what port is this? And then you click the card and flip it over and it gives you the answer. So you've got some flashcards, and then you've got the student test prep. Oh, I do have to show you one other quick thing if I could. Let's see. Let me go back here. Let me go right back to that, and let me see if I can move you guys. And let me see if I can just get to content. Yeah, that's Cybers. Okay. We're getting there, folks. Slowly but surely. In the announcements section of your class, and I'm going to switch, I can switch from the instructor view to what you see. So I'll do that real quick. So I can scroll down here, and two things. I guess let me know by giving me a raising your hand if I can see you. Did you guys get emails about the Zoom meeting, or did you find the Zoom meeting on Blackboard? Caleb, did you get the emails?
Yeah, I got the email for both of them.
Okay. How about you, Alex?
I did get the email.
Check. Jeremy, how about you? Did you get them?
Yes, I got the email.
Okay, Stephen?
Yeah, I got it.
How you doing? How's your brother doing?
He's doing good. Just working hard.
Come on, you can't fool me. No, tell him I said hi.
Of course. Yeah, I said he actually had to message you in the future.
Yeah, we were supposed to go out to lunch at some point and never got to do that. So maybe we'll get to do that at some point soon.
Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay, so let me go back to the instructor. Nah, maybe not. Let me go back to the student. And I'm going to scroll down here a little bit. There's the Dalai Lama. You should read about the Dalai Lama. Example of the PC build. Here's the tutors. Another hopefully inspiring quote, but I wanted to get here, and you'll see that there is a link to the 1055 videos on Blackboard. Actually, this is a link to the 1055, all the 1055 videos that I use in this course, and that'll take you to my library of them on YouTube. So if you ever want to go out there and like browse through that stuff, you can. Here's a link to Packet Tracer. So if anybody know what Packet Tracer is? Alex, you know what Packet Tracer is?
No.
Okay, Packet Tracer is it's a free program that's made available by Cisco, who makes routers and switches for most of the businesses in the United States and the rest of the world. And it lets you actually build networks, basically virtual networks. So it has a little tray at the bottom, and you put some PCs in it, and you put a server and a switch and a router, and you try and hook them all together. And then there are tutorials out on YouTube where you can actually configure the routers and stuff for networking. So it's pretty cool. There's a link to it. I have some links to the Metro Parks here for those of you that go to them often. They're great places if you want to get outside and kind of walk around, particularly when the fall colors start kicking in. So I have some links to that stuff, an article on self-reflection. I do have a link here to the CompTIA practice exams. So if you feel like you're eventually going to take the A+ certification exams and you want to see the kind of questions that you would have to answer, these links will take you there. And again, they're free. This is an extra credit assignment that goes for the entire term of the class, the semester. One is a book report on a book called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, and the other one is to set up a blog about something that you're passionate about and do 10 posts to it, and each one is worth 20 points. So again, you could find these if you scroll down the announcements. And then you will have to do a PowerPoint presentation before the end of the class. And here are the possible, I think there's like 1,000 different topics on stuff that you can do. And I'll do a post a little bit further on in the class where it's actually due the last week of the class, but if you get it to me early, it's worth 20 points. If you get it to me before then, it's worth another 10 points. So if you are trying to get points, there's another way to earn some points. And I think that's all I got for you guys. Oh, maybe two other things. I will try and move this class's Zoom meetings back to Tuesday. So I will try and do the Zoom meeting for these two classes on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock. I'm not necessarily going to do a Zoom meeting every week, but if I do it, I'll do it at 7 o'clock. And I don't know what happened. I moved these announcements, the Zoom meeting announcement, up to the top of the list. I did that earlier in the week and somehow they dropped down. I manually have to pick this up and move these things if I want them in particular places. Otherwise, they kind of drop them down, and if you guys don't scroll that far, you don't see them. So I will continue to send invites to the Zoom meetings, and I'll try and put them up at the top so you don't miss them. And that's all I got. Any questions?
Yeah, I had two, Professor, if that's okay.
Oh, man. Okay, yeah. Hi, Steve.
I see you again. My first one being for when we have to cite the sources for our actual documents, typing up the steps, you
No.
want us to,
No, Steve, you don't have to cite sources.
no?
It's just, I don't want you, the message there was, I don't want you copying things from the internet. I want you to read about them on the internet and then put them in your own words. It's not a research paper. My take has always been, you cite sources for research papers. These are not research papers. That part of what I said tonight was a warning not to cut and paste from the internet. That won't help you learn. What I want you to do is read and then put that into your own words. That shows me that you understand what you're reading. Question 2.
Actually, you pretty much just answered it. Yeah, I was gonna ask further about that, but thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Okay, Professor, I got a couple questions, but I will let everybody do first. I can wait until to the last one because I have a couple questions that I want to ask you.
Okay, does anybody else have anything? Okay, and I just want to warn you, I do have the promotional version of Zoom at this point, so I got a flash about 7 minutes ago that I had 10 minutes left. So if I have to
back on my screen.
if I have to end the Zoom meeting early, you can send, if you want to, you can send me an email, or we can do a phone call.
Okay, phone call would be great too if you are available after this meeting. The question is that I look at the assignment part 2, take a picture of the input and output part on my computer. Actually, I just have laptop. I don't have desktop, Professor.
So do I. My laptop has the input and output
Yes,
stuff
so
on the sides. That's what I want you to take a
oh,
picture.
okay, I got it. And yeah, the other question, the same question, like our classmate, Steven, just said. I want to ask about that. And
But I didn't I answer that though?
yeah, you did. Thank you so much. And then and one more thing about the about this I did ask already, and one more, it's about the lab, Professor. So I feel free to go in there and practice the lab and do whatever.
Absolutely. You can, if you're in the middle of it and you decide that you're going to come back to it later,
1 minute remaining.
then just X out of it and go back in, because it's not being recorded in the grade book.
So the labs are optional?
They're optional, but I will tell you, Caleb, I'm going to be asking questions about the stuff that's in the lab.
Gonna be kicked out in a second.
If I find that you're all not doing the labs, I will probably make them something that you have to do.
Okay.
Noah?
We have less than a minute before we get kicked out.
Well, it's coming close. Are you saying you know that?
It says less than 1 minute.
Oh,
That shows
man.
up.
I know, and I want to know one thing that you said. Then using the PowerPoint for a program